Yeah, because I do have some of them around. Yeah, and what I was asking about is when they first moved, the history of just like moving to Clerkenwell, because you know what it is when you're a child, you remember certain things. And so he was telling me all, again, like the different backgrounds of the pubs and everything. So that was because, as you know, I was born just after the war in 46. So all the people, near enough everyone, Justin, were living in 2 rooms or 3 rooms. We had 3 rooms in Clerkenwell.
Was the bomb site still there in Clerkenwell?
Oh, the bomb site was there for years and years and years.
Yes. But I didn't. Clerkenwell always looks like it hasn't changed, or
it just behind. It was the pub opposite my house, our old house. Round the corner, just round the bend, which I think became a car park. Do you remember you said to me, it's a car park there now? So what it is the bomb ruins was in Clerkenwell, just round the corner from the Three Kings, literally with the church on the other side, or side of the church. And then the whole bomb ruins was down to where the buses, on Clerkenwell Green. So where the buses were, so that whole thing was a bomb site.
When did Grandad move in there then, into Clerkenwell?
They moved, no, after.
After?
Yeah, so that when I was born. Do you know, he never said that. That's one thing yeah. Otherwise they would be down in Dagenham, but of course there were so many children, still 7 brothers living at home.
Right, yeah.
So, or had one of my mother's brothers gone to Canada already? No, he hadn't, no.
No. So that's it, Dagenham's where they got married, wasn't it? Is that where you met your mum?
Yes.
Was it set up like a family matchmaking? Or?
No, don't think so, Justin. I think just that Grandad still fixing, and of course being Irish, Southern Irish, of course Ireland wasn't involved in the Second World War. So Grandad, or your dad, or my dad, sorry, your grandfather, they were able to come to England because they desperately needed workforce, Justin. So like he was working as a still fixer. I've always suspected, years later, Sheila and I wondered if he got my mother pregnant. So if I look at them, Sheila's got all their marriage, she's got all the marriage certificates, she's got everything. So I was born in April. I think their anniversary was June, their wedding anniversary. So, because it's the wartime.
Wedding.
Well, no, not really, because that I was
parents.
Well, Mum and Dad never actually spoke. It's an interesting, and we never even thought to really question them. There was always like, well, they got married after the war, could have been. And there's not a lot of men around, Justin, because of all the, well, they had come home. Sorry, by then, or maybe they hadn't. But of course, that when I was birth to me, there was no room in the hospitals.
And that's in Hatfield room.
That's why we went to the state. The stately house there had been turned into a hospital.
Yeah.
So that's why I was born in a stately house.
Yeah, no, it's on your birth certificate, isn't it? I remember.
Yeah. It's not. God, what's the name? Every time I keep.
It's Hatfield House, Mum.
No, it wasn't. No, I was born in Hatfield House, darling.
I'm sure that's what it says on the birth. Like where you live at Clerkenwell, did it feel like that was like a bubble, or did you? Because I remember like living in Bloomsbury, you sort of feel like Tottenham Road's down the road, but it feels like very alien.
Yes. Right. Yeah. I don't know about that. I suppose.
You spend a lot of time in Clerkenwell.
Yeah. I don't know, Justin, because it's like anything where you grow up. Clerkenwell was very interesting because, as I said, it's in the daytime. You've got all the silversmiths. You've got all that whole area. They were crafts people that worked there. So there was the industry, but they're more like houses. There was no offices as such there. They were all that, and so that's why when I got knocked down, because we used to play in the middle. Where the trough is, where now they've made it all. Pedestrian, when we sat outside that time, that was just still an island there,
so you got
and cars coming round, but you just got very used to it. And again, the buses terminated at Clerkenwell Green, so you had the 217, the 25, 234 or something. I can't remember now, but they would come round and again, I was very, very little. So my memories are just being on my own, was going to my Uncle Vi and Uncle Ted's when because they lived off the King's Road, or on the King's Road, but they lived in one of those coach houses, Justin.
This is in Chelsea, is it?
Yeah.
You told me about that.
Yes.
You actually went on your own.
Asking me about why did he miss it? He didn't, Justin, and I think England has a lot more freedom. There was a lot more freedom even just after the war, and of course because of my father's politics, he had friends like I was older then, so Sheila was probably born by then, I don't remember, but he was friends with Dominic Bean and the playwright who had the theatre, Joan Littlewood, Justin, in Whitechapel. Well, anyway, and they'd go there sometimes. But it was a whole mixture, because all the especially big cities, must have been like that in Birmingham or Manchester, but especially London, Justin. It was so disparate. You had people that had lived there, like in Clerkenwell, people had lived there, like the Selbys, and so you had a whole mixture, and all the stories about the Duke's son who got the maid pregnant.
Oh yes, you love that, yeah, of course.
But it was interesting, Justin. Where do you go to a pub and you have history like that? Or the Duchess of Clerkenwell, Mr. and Mrs. Bramwell, with an old-fashioned Rolls Royce and a huge handlebar moustache and a full-size.
But it sounds there are places like that, aren't there? There's places that have a reputation, like Brighton, for example.
Yes, exactly.
Has that reputation. It's seedy. Yeah. There's a lot of people with money go there, but there's a lot of dodgy stuff going on, and everyone still wants to go there.
Yes. Yeah,
there are places like that, aren't they?
Real fascinating characters, and the characters like in Soho, Justin, that when I was at college, there was still people like Lucian Freud, I know it's Camden, and you had the other, who's the other guy, Justin? I always forget his name, the gay guy, you've got the British painters, Lucian Freud, and he was an alcoholic, and always drank in the pub well, what's the main street near my college? And then you've got Frith Street goes off.
Shaftesbury Avenue, is it?
No. You know what?
Yes.
Is it Compton Street? That's Soho, and then the streets. And so you still had all these characters around in the 80s, Justin.
Yeah, I know, they wouldn't die, would they?
No, exactly. So Clerkenwell was like that, Justin, and there must have been lots of other areas like that.
Absolutely.
But if you think if you did a circle, Justin, of Clerkenwell, you've got the church, you've got where Peabody, where we were, Justin. So the famous one where we went in. All the gangs were there. You've got the Three Kings. You've got the Crown, and at the bottom of the hill you have. Because what was there for people?
But I don't know. I wonder if there's another reason, because where Kentish Town, where we are, the reason there's so many pubs, an unusual amount of pubs, is because of the piano makers. So you'd have all these young guys in these warehouses fixing pianos, and it was thirsty work. Yes. So you'd have a larger amount of pubs than normal because of an industry. Okay. So in that I respect it's. Well, I wonder if there's some sort of industry.
Well, because they were all silversmiths and everything. They were silversmith. All that whole area were craftsmen. And don't forget, there was the old big. What was it? It wasn't operating that the court there, Justin. The big court.
Yes.
And they still have the cells downstairs. So up until I think probably I don't know what I know it was the 20th century they stopped using it as a court, but people go on trial there. They would.
No, interesting.
You had that. You had that there. So.
Yeah, I mean the history's been, in that area is very well known. But it's interesting your dad moving there though, because usually with immigrants you sort of go and live near other Irish people, don't you? Whereas he didn't, did he?
No.
He went out of his way to avoid.
Yeah, maybe he had a job up there, Justin, and they were looking for rooms.
That's interesting.
And it's
absolutely.
it's a
wonderful
very
place.
It's central.
It's a good decision.
It's a central place, and don't forget it strikes, because that's the whole thing of I'm All Right, Jack, which I absolutely love. You know that one with Ian Carmichael, who's just come down from Oxford or Cambridge, and his father's the factory, and he wants to introduce him to show. These are the workers in our factory, and they go in and go, oh, hello, chappies, and you've got Peter Sellers, who's the shop steward. Oh, what are you doing, chappie? You're putting in it. Well, why don't you use that? And all of a sudden Peter says, right, everyone out.
Yes.
Because the man's only supposed to hit the nails. Yes. Someone's supposed to come along then and screw them in or something. It wasn't
taking
as
someone's job.
Taking some. Because you can't have because that's what happened, Justin, isn't it? Before the Second World War. Working people had no rights whatsoever. So trade unions then, really started to get there. Do you remember I did say that he worked for Marple Ridgeways? Do you remember the Marple Ridgeways when? Just have to laugh. Minister of Health Works and something. Yes. He was a minister.
No, that's right.
And of course, he's building roads. He's building houses. He's giving himself all these contracts. So when my father was made a still manager or whatever, I don't even know if he was a still manager then. Maybe he was working by then. He wasn't fixing just. He was working the office. He was running various things, and his boss above him was the colonel. We have no idea what his name was. Obviously Dad knew, but he was only ever referred to by everyone as the colonel.
Right.
And he came home one day, and again it was summertime. I don't know why I always think of the Clerkenwell was summertime, because of course it wasn't, but so he came home one day from work, early evening, and he said to my mother, he said the back of so you've got the tube station, and you've got the the market, not Exmouth Street Market, where the canal is. He'd bought one of those brilliant houses, and my father says, do you know he paid £500 for that? I mean, they're worth millions. In fact, my friend, a really good friend of mine, you would have met her a few times, but you won't remember her now, but she was really nice. She was first year fashion, and we became good friends, and her uncle bought one of those houses there, and I went with her one day. She'd all come, because and we were going out somewhere. She'd all come and see my uncle's, and it had these beautiful, windows and everything. And I told her that story, and I think even then, Justin, he must have paid $1 million for. I mean, but my father thought he was mad.
Yes. Well, it's an odd thing, isn't it? That,
it is.
No interest in getting a house or
no, because. He took his, radicalism or whatever you want to call it. He was always quoted to us, property is theft.
Right.
But it was all right to spend every penny in the pub.
Yes, I was going to say yes.
That was was earning £40 a week.
Yes.
£40 a week was a huge amount of money.
Yeah. Do you think he was giving it to his family as well, like his sisters or?
No, by then, by the time he was earning 40, my sister had been born. We were living in Clerkenwell. That was a lot of money.
Yeah. No, I mean, where do you think it all went? Because obviously he didn't go into.
He had savings. He did save.
He was helping his sisters as well.
No, he wasn't doing anything like that, and he didn't buy us any clothes. Wouldn't even buy us a Coke.
Yes.
Do you know how much a Coke was? He could get a pint for 1 and 6.
Yes.
A Coke was about nearly 10 shillings, or was more than 10 shillings, Justin.
That's interesting. I mean, but with your mum as well, because a lot of the time that's the thing as well, isn't it? Like the partner is pushing you to say buy a house, for example. But your mum didn't.
Grandma, no. I think they were happy, Justin.
Yeah,
it's funny, isn't it? Not funny that they're happy, but they lived in their 3 rooms. They had such a. If you think about, you think I'm very social and outgoing, and I stay in bed for days. But as soon as anyone says you're coming out, and I'm up dressed, and like you said to me, we'll do this, Mum. I go. My parents had all the people around Clerkenwell. Yes. Not everyone, but quite a few, Justin. We had parties in my house, and that tiny room, tiny room. but it was always full of people. Or we'd go to someone else's house, or they go. You know,
Yes,
everyone
yeah.
socialised near enough. Every few weekends, we'd be down in Dagenham, just party. They had a social life. They didn't really need. You know,
So they're
the
content.
idea. Well, the thing is, they could have moved to the Angel Justin and bought a beautiful house for £500. But my God, my father thought the Colonel was losing his mind, because you'll never guess what, he's bought this house in Islington, £500. You know,
But I guess you had good holidays as well, didn't you? Sort of
always went on holiday. We'd go in the summer. Regularly go up to Parliament Hill, Justin, because we'd get the 63 bus on Farringdon and that take us to Farringdon Road. That took us to that stopped at Parliament Hill, Gospel Oak.
Yeah.
You know, further up, you know, for the turnaround.
Yeah.
I think the buses now go even further. They don't stop, but that used to be a turnaround. And they've got picnics. We had holidays every year. You know. So there was that, and also by then, you know, as I got older, my mother worked for Mrs. Bramwell in the Crown, and so I got a job cleaning the silver. Don't think I ever saw the money. I just got threepence a week.